Welcome to the playoffs here at Kpreps.com. We are going to predict each and every class here at Kpreps.com. And let's start first with 8M-II as we welcome in Matt Gilmore from Kpreps.com. How you doing today, Matt?
Doing really well.
Also joining us via Skype, Chet Coupland from Kansas-Sports.com. Chet, are you ready to go?
I'm ready, man.
And Connor Nickel on the phone from the Hayes Daily News out in the west side of the state. How you doing today, Connor?
Good, sir. How's it going?
It is going good. We scoured the state, spared no expense to preview the playoffs here in high school football. Let's start first with the first-round game in 8M-II. We'll send it to Chet Coupland from Kansas-Sports.com and pick the first game. Baileyville B&B will take on Southern Cloud. Chet?
Baileyville B&B is the defending state champion. Really only one slip-up on the year. That was in Week 1 to Madison, who was the preseason number 1, 29-28. I have B&B moving on easily in this matchup against Southern Cloud.
Our next matchup, Waverly against Stafford. Matt Gilmore from Kpreps.com.
Well, I like Stafford in this one. Stafford's a team that's played some good competition. They've lost to Central Plains, and they put up a lot of points. And I think they can go on the road and get a win at Waverly.
Hope and Hanover, another first-round matchup from 8M-II. Chet?
Hope's on a 7-game winning streak, but I think that really Hanover is just going to have too much in this matchup. Hanover probably has played a better schedule overall. Their only losses coming to Sharon Springs, Wallace County, and then Baileyville B&B, the defending state champion. So I have Hanover in this matchup.
And South Barber hosts Chetopa. Matt?
Well, this is two similar teams who really like to put up the big numbers on offense. South Barber and Peyton Yandell, and you talk about Derek Cassell and Philip Moses and Chetopa. I think South Barber wins at home and moves on to the second round.
Let's head over to the west side and bring in Connor Nickel from the Hayes Daily News. Beloit St. John's against Weskin High School. Connor, who do you like?
Well, St. John's has really had a nice season, a ton of weapons. Weskin, a really great story, back-to-back playoff appearances. They've only got 10 players on their roster, but St. John's much too strong here.
In our next matchup, we'll stay with Connor Nickel from the Hayes Daily News. Victoria against Ingalls.
You know, the Knights, of course, as has been well known, lost several key players, especially quarterback Sam Outley, several weeks ago. But since then, they have rolled and not had trouble against those weaker opponents. Knights win here big.
And we'll stay with Connor again for Sharon Springs, Wallace County, taking on Thunder Ridge.
Just an outstanding matchup. And this is the fourth straight year these two teams have met up in the postseason, but it's the first time Sharon Springs has hosted. I've seen both of these teams play. Thunder Ridge, outstanding at certain positions, but Sharon Springs' overall depth and strength 1 through 8, plus playing at home, allows them to win a very close contest.
And then the final matchup, an 8M-II, Fowler hosts Dighton. Connor?
Dighton, very, very similar to Weskin, a very small roster, actually snuck in the playoffs on points. Fowler, some great skill players. Fowler wins here.
Okay, let's move to the second round and start back in the east side. Baileyville B&B against Stafford. Matt, who do you like?
Well, I like B&B. I mean, it's their last season, and they play in just a superior league and against superior competition. I think B&B wins it with the passing attack and moves on into the sub-state game.
Hanover and South Barber. Chad, who do you like to move on to sub-state in that matchup?
I think I'm going to go right now with Hanover. I think they're just going to have too much and have played a tougher schedule, so I have Hanover moving on in that matchup.
Connor, over in the quarterfinals on the west side, Beloit St. John's Timpton against Victoria.
Well, I think this is where Victoria's a lack of depth and some of those key players being out is going to hurt them. St. John's Timpton has played a great schedule, and I foresee them to win here.
And let's look at the last matchup in the quarterfinals, Sharon Springs and Fowler. Who are you picking, Connor?
Well, you know, Fowler's a very, very quality team, but again, Sharon Springs is depth. And also last year they lost out in the sub-state after a really great season. Sharon Springs is on a mission for state, and they'll get the win here.
As we move on to sub-state action here in 8-man D2, let's go to Chet Coupland. Baileyville B&B against Hanover. Who do you like?
Well, this is a rematch of that just happened a couple weeks ago. Baileyville B&B played at Hanover and won 34-22. I think B&B is just going to have too much. Dustin Rottinghouse has led them all year as he did last year, and I see Baileyville B&B going back to the state title, and really I have them repeating.
It's a great story in their final season as a school. And our other semifinal matchup in sub-state features Beloit St. John's Tipton against Sharon Springs. Who do you like, Connor?
Well, I think the difference will come up front. I think that St. John's Tipton actually has the advantage with the skill guys, but Sharon Springs' line, Dalton Walker, Tyrell Springstale, and Clay Shem especially, have had great seasons. Coach Kevin Ayers, already 3 state titles. Sharon Springs wins a very low-scoring game here.
What a great story, though, for Beloit St. John's Tipton to, just 4 years ago, go winless, 0-9, and now as seniors, this group is back 9-0, and we're talking about them in the state semifinals.
And our state championship game, Sharon Springs against Baileyville B&B. Matt, who are you picking?
Well, this is going to be an interesting game. Connor mentioned, that Sharon Springs is really good up front. B&B lost everyone up front from last year's team, but the skill kids are certainly there with Rottinghouse. Maybe it's a team of destiny, but I like B&B. I like B&B to be able to use their athletes from Rottinghouse throwing the ball to guys like Blake Dieters and Cameron Haig, and I think it'll be a good game. But I like B&B to repeat in their school on a state title.
Well, Chet picked them as well. Connor, do you agree with Baileyville B&B, the 8-man Division II champion?
Yes, I do. And I think it comes down to Rottinghouse, and he's a superb quarterback. He makes plays happen. Basically, he finds ways to win games. And I think, B&B is such a proud town. They've been good in so many sports, and they want to end this with a state championship.
If they would, you talk about this would be their 6th consecutive state championship game, and that would be their 4th title in that time. So what a way, always tough to close out a school and to consolidate, but what a way to do so for that community.
That concludes our playoff predictions for 8-man D2 here on Kpreps.com.